cast.
Must listen to. Sure boy.
Sure boy. And Stone Cold, 3 hours over here in my room. Good luck with that one.
Ric Flair, the Nature Boy, has had more than his fair share of wild moments. But in 2013, at the WWE 2K14 panel, things went from classic Flair chaos to an outright disaster. In fact, the event was so unhinged, it resulted in legendary commentator Jim Ross getting fired. So, what exactly happened that night? And how did a simple video game panel end up costing Jim Ross his job? Well, it all started when Ric Flair did what Ric Flair does best, completely steal the show. Except this time, it was for all the wrong reasons.
I've lost complete control of my job. I'm sure I will never be asked back, and this has probably destroyed what career I had left.
And by the way, I introduced Jim Ross to his wife.
On paper, this WWE 2K14 panel was supposed to be a calm, fan-friendly event where legends like Stone Cold Steve Austin, Daniel Bryan, Paul Heyman, and of course Ric Flair would sit down and discuss their wrestling careers while promoting the game. Pretty simple, right? Enter Drunk Ric Flair.
All right, well,
Jer,
yeah.
Let's go get a crown. Let's go.
Well, we're almost done.
Flair didn't just show up with his usual flair. He was visibly intoxicated, and let's just say, far more interested in telling wild stories from his life than talking about WWE 2K14.
Woo! And Steve's bringing 3 cases of beer. What the hell?
I came looking for a couple of plugs for the show, but this is ridiculous.
No,
I think we're turning your podcast heel.
hey, we're going to plug that baby all night long. Wait till I get to the bar tonight. I didn't start it yet.
While Jim Ross, as the host, tried to steer the conversation back to the game, Flair quickly took the wheel and drove things off a cliff.
We go way back. Charleston, West Virginia. We were so drunk, we were all... we got on the airplane.
Flair began to ramble on, sharing emotional and frankly unfiltered stories about his late son and his career, leaving everyone on stage and in the audience visibly uncomfortable. It was as if Flair was stuck in a loop, unable or unwilling to stop himself. The panelists, including Stone Cold and Daniel Bryan, exchanged awkward glances while Jim Ross sat there doing his best to contain the chaos.
And I'm going to share a special moment, which I feel like everybody needs to know. 5 months ago, my son died. And when they were closing his casket, I took one of my Hall of Fame rings from my retirement and I put it on his hand. And my oldest son was there at the time, and before they closed the coffin, I took my one from the Four Horsemen and gave it to him. So I went to NXT about 2 months ago, and I walked in, and Hunter says, I need to talk to you. I figured I was in trouble already, and I don't, like I was gonna go crazy in the show or something, right? And the company gave me another one with my son's engraved name in it. And there's nothing like the WWE. I mean, I want to tell you the events are phenomenal, and they are. But working for these guys is like working for the best people in the world.
Now, you might think this is just another Ric Flair story. Flair being Flair, right? Wrong. What started as some harmless, off-topic storytelling quickly spiraled out of control as the tension in the room rose, and the PR disaster that WWE higher-ups were witnessing escalated by the second.
Say what you want to say. I don't give a shit.
In that case.
I'd like to thank Grey Goose for sponsoring this portion of the broadcast.
But I go to Cena. I said, "You're the world champion. You got to buy drinks." He said, "I don't drink." I said, "Good luck with that shit."
Behind the scenes, WWE management wasn't laughing. In fact, they were furious. Instead of viewing the panel as a promotion for the video game, it became a PR nightmare, and someone had to take the fall. And unfortunately for Jim Ross, that someone was him.
And Rick and I had not only a few matches, we had a classic.
We stole it, brother.
We stole it
twice.
Times.
We stole it at SummerSlam for WWE, and we stole it for that company, whatever it's called, TNA. You kidding me? He lets me smack him. Undertaker, just relatively a few, Hey, Bret Hart, do we have to do that? Sorry, Bret. Yeah, it's only 2 I got. was San Antonio one night. Bret Hart goes, "It's a dark match. Please don't chop me." I said, "Okay." Okay, hello.
All right. Okay now.
Don't get me going.
Despite Flair being the one clearly responsible for the chaos, WWE higher-ups placed the blame on Jim Ross, claiming he should have controlled the situation better.
I'm a wealth of entertainment.
Daniel Bryan,
Is up, JR.
save my ass. Soundbite. If you could, who's your dream opponent at WrestleMania?
I honestly feel like I don't belong up here.
Hey, Daniel. Hey, Daniel.
Now, if you've ever tried to control Ric Flair, especially a drunk Ric Flair, you'd know that's basically impossible. Within days of the panel, Jim Ross was quietly informed that his time with WWE had come to an end. This decision shocked many fans, as Ross was a WWE institution.
The human jellyfish.
If this makes a television show, can you imagine what the internet and the dirt sheets are going to say about this shit?
Yeah, I love it. Good Lord.
Considered I've lost
Nobody get married out here, please. It's overrated. If you're even entertaining the thought of your partner you're with tonight and you're thinking about getting married, throw it out. It's overrated. And don't live with her longer than the statute of limitations, okay? You got to pay her anyway.
Thank you, Dr. Phil.
After decades of calling some of the most iconic matches in history, his tenure with the company was cut short, all because Ric Flair had a little too much to drink.
After this train wreck is over, and we are able to get the ambulances here for the bodies, the casualties, we're going to do one-on-one interviews. We are going to, God forbid, have more beverages and great food.
As for Flair, well, after the dust settled, he issued an apology, admitting that he'd gone too far. But in typical Flair fashion, he kept on living the high life, unaffected by the consequences that had fallen squarely on Jim Ross.
I was in Los Angeles for SummerSlam. I was at the very controversial 2K Games press thing that you hosted, and Ric Flair was there, and a lot was made of it on a lot of different wrestling websites. I do remember sitting with my wife and being like, I think JR just insulted the sponsor of whoever's putting this thing on.
I didn't handle it well.
But did they fire you for that?
Pretty much.
They did.
So, what does this story tell us? Sometimes in the wrestling world, things happen that don't make much sense. Ric Flair walked away unscathed while Jim Ross lost his job, marking the end of an era for WWE. Luckily, Ross found success elsewhere, becoming a beloved commentator for AEW, while Flair continues to enjoy his legendary status. But the real question is, was Jim Ross unfairly blamed? Or was this just another unpredictable moment in a career filled with them? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And of course, don't forget to subscribe, because there's always another crazy story just around the corner in the world of professional wrestling.